Hi everybody and welcome to SimplyScuba and welcome to the Surface Interval in association with Mpora. So last week we looked at shipwrecks. Today we're looking at diving spots. I went quite broad with this one, focusing on like regions, not just individual dive sites, because filtering an entire list of top dive sites down to just 5 is going to be pretty tough. At least looking at regions, there can be something for everybody. So if you're looking to book your next diving trip, like so many of us are, but don't know where to look for inspiration, look no further for the greatest scuba diving spots in the world. The Red Sea is one of my favorites because it ticks pretty much all of the boxes you could possibly want for diving. The waters are warm and blue for most of the year, and you'll find everything from vibrant, colourful reefs that are just teeming with life to a range of shipwrecks of different sizes and layouts. Up north, around Nama Bay, you'll find plenty of dive centres and day boats. There are dive sites up and down the west coast for shore diving, and around Ras Mohammed National Park, plenty of dive sites to explore. Further south, you've got Hurghada, Marsalam, border liverboards that will take you around other harder to reach dive sites, more wrecks and reefs than you can shake a pair of fins at. You've got things like St. John's reefs with bright swim-through caves that are just covered in coral. Elphinstone, a long, thin wall dive that you can dive either side of it. That goes straight down to hundreds of meters. Current brings nutrients and the depth brings big stuff. So you can find hammerheads, all sorts of things at Elphinstone. I've lost count of how many times I've been to the Red Sea, and I will still go back there. The Yucatan Peninsula sits in the Gulf of Mexico and is probably the best place to find one of the most unique diving environments around, cenotes. You can find flooded cave systems all over the world, but nothing like the warm, clear water with cascading lights throughout some of the cenotes. For an easy dive, there's Manatee, or Casa Cenote. It's a nice and shallow, open to the sunlight. It's basically a mangrove river, so there's plenty of life and sunlight, which brings the light, but crystal clear water, so you can just see for miles. Calavera isn't the easiest to get to, but it has beautiful rock formations and usually a halo climb where you can see the line where fresh water meets salt water and doesn't quite mix. Dos Ojos, a huge pool that you can snorkel around, but then tunnels out from it, again with stunning rock formations and very vivid clear waters. The Maldives is a small island group in the middle of the Indian Ocean near the equator, so it's lovely warm waters and just tons of wildlife. Water movement sweeps nutrients between the islands that just attracts marine life, so there's plenty to see and it's pretty much everywhere. With those nutrients sweeping throughout the islands, that one thing that you may need to sort of account for is that current. You will come across drift, so you either need to embrace it and just drift along, go for a nice drift dive, or get comfortable with a drift hook. Plenty of sharks, turtles, mantas throughout the year. Join local vibrant corals and smaller fish that are always around, along with invertebrates and stuff. Up in the northern atolls, you tend to find more of the colourful reefs and corals and sponges and stuff. And then in the southern atolls is where you find the bigger pelagic stuff like sharks. If you feel like you've seen everything, then the Galapagos is a really unique destination. Because of its isolation, a lot of species that you can only find there. And again, because it's an island formation out to sea, a lot of the big stuff comes there to rest. The Pacific coast off Ecuador sees a lot of larger species travelling up and down the coast at different times of the year, and the Galapagos is a nice resting stop for them. There are cleaning stations and nutrient-rich waters. It's the perfect spot for thousands of hammerheads. Whenever you see pictures and videos of just thousands of shoaling hammerhead sharks just swimming around, it's usually taken at Galapagos. Galapagos is a bit more advanced though. You can dive certain areas as a novice, but it can be quite challenging thanks to its colder waters and rougher waters as well. Because it's island formations, There's plenty of deep water as well, so you do need to be fairly on top of your game to dive certain dive sites, but if you can go, it is well worth your while. It is a fantastic mix of small fish, big fish, mammals like dolphins and seals, along with penguins at some times and iguanas as well at some dive sites. But with the colder waters, it's a thicker wetsuit and kind of dry suit territory. Continuing the colder water theme, we're heading up north of Scotland to Scapa Flow. Scapa Flow is another island chain with a central natural harbour, which is why someone parked a whole bunch of ships there during World War II. They were all sunk where they were, and now they're great for scuba diving. Dry suit territory, this one. Even in the summertime, you can probably brave it in a wetsuit if you don't mind the cold too much, but dry suits are much more efficient. This one is where it's kind of better to dive outside of the warmer months though. With the sun and the heat comes plankton growth and bloom, which reduces visibility in the water. But when it turns colder, it starts to settle down and you can then see again. Another win for dry suit diving. There are a whole bunch of world-class shipwrecks in relatively tight group, along with more shipwrecks a bit further out to explore if you want to venture out, but many of them are in just recreational depth, so you can spend quite a bit of time to explore them at your leisure. So there were 5 great places to go diving. How many of these have you ticked off of your bucket list so far, and which is next on your list? Which places did I miss off of my list? Let us know down in the comments below. Don't forget to check out SimplyScuba.com for all of your diving needs, and of course the 2 Minute Foundation for all of the amazing things that they do. Thank you for watching everybody, and of course, safe diving.